Okey-doke. The good of the cause for the public. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment to allow for a fair and orderly public comment period in accordance with board bylaws. Individual comments are limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public are reminded this is a public televised meeting of the Board of Education, so to protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. Is there anyone wishing to address the board? Please come to the podium and give us your name and address for the record.
So my name is Todd Vachon. I live at 35 Putnam Road in East Brunswick.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. It's something I always want to say, so I'll say, Mr. Superintendent, Madam President, distinguished members of the board. I'm pleased to be here to be able to speak to you tonight about an issue that's very important to me. It's an issue that many of you are probably already familiar with, which is the case of my daughter, Ebba Vachon, who is in 4th grade at Warrensdorfer Elementary School right now, and she is an elite competitive gymnast. Are you familiar with the case? Or should I explain that?
I'm familiar. Yeah, if you would explain,
Sure,
because the
sure,
board may
okay.
not have.
So this is kind of good following up after you. So I'll try and keep this to 5 minutes. My daughter, Ebba, is a very gifted and talented gymnast. I'm from the state of Connecticut originally. My family, born and raised in Connecticut. Ebba started competing in gymnastics at age 5. She excelled by the age of 7. She was competing against 15 and 16-year-olds and beating them. Judges and coaches recommended that we take her in to be evaluated by national coaches who said, yes, she's absolutely got a gift. So we got her assessed, and she was ranked as one of the top 50 gymnasts in the United States in 2017. Connecticut does not have a national training center. So we had to choose between Massachusetts, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or far-flung states like Texas or Florida to find a good placement for her to be able to pursue her dreams and her passion. So we met with the coaches here at MG Elite down in Morganville, which you may be familiar with. Lori Hernandez won in the Olympics a few years ago out of that gym. And they fell in love with Ebba instantly, and we chose to come here to bring her to go to that gym. Now, it's a very small elite program. There's only 12 girls in this program, 11 of which are homeschooled. There's one girl who lives in the town of Monroe, and she leaves school early, about at 1:30 each day, to get to the gym to attend practice, because they practice about 30 hours a week, because the skills are so dangerous that it requires that many hours of practice and just constantly being in the gym, because you know how it is with gymnastics. When you get to those high-level skills, you can't get a day off. The girls get literally 5 days off in the summer for the whole year. It's a year-round sport. It's nonstop. So our issue is that we settled in East Brunswick just in August this year, and we found out that we are in violation of the school's early dismissal policy by picking up Ebba 40 minutes early from school 4 days a week to attend her practice, which we did negotiate with the gym to say we want to keep her in public school because we greatly value public education. My wife and I are both product of public schools, former public school teacher myself, both my wife and I, now a professor at Rutgers, which is kind of what has enabled us to move here, thankfully. Yeah, but so we met with Mr. Satari and the classroom teachers when we first got here, and they said we think we should be able to work this out. We'll just have to confirm it with the district. And we were thrilled. The teachers made a plan where they switched her into a different class so that she wouldn't miss any of the fundamental math and reading courses during the day. So she would be leaving 40 minutes early, mostly missing social studies. I have a PhD in sociology. I'm a former school teacher. I think she'll be okay with social studies. But we submitted a plan to the district of how we would supplement to make up for that missed school time. Unfortunately, our plan was denied, and we were told that we needed to keep her in school each day until the end of the day, and that the district's policy says that leaving school even a minute early counts as a full absence. It negates the entire day of education, whereas arriving to school late only counts as 1/4 of an absence. So there's kind of a disparity in the punishment there. So essentially, I brought, if I may I approach and provide you guys with that?
Yeah, I'll go.
I've brought to share with you the letter that we initially shared with Mr. Satari explaining our story, as well as Ebba's most recent report card, which indicates that she has never been absent from school, and she has all A's, all of the highest marks in all of her classes. Thank you. And I apologize, there's not going to be enough, because I researched on the website and saw there were 9 board members, and I got here and started counting, and there's more than 9 of you. Maybe because
There's 9 board members.
9 board members,
I'll
okay,
give
so
you
we
the
have
board members.
attorney and
Yep.
superintendent, okay. So I apologize, there's only 9 copies. So yeah, so the policy punishes early dismissal greater than it punishes late arrival, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is there's a perverse consequence to this, because you have an incredibly gifted child who wants to pursue her gift. And, you know, if there are other kids in town, perhaps musicians or an author who were to write a book, if they were to have an opportunity, but their family wants them to continue to have a public education, the enforcement of this rule essentially says you have to choose between one or the other. And in our situation, having moved our entire family to a new state to pursue this dream, it's essentially forcing us to withdraw our child from school and either homeschool her, which I really don't want to do because I value public education, or to move to a different town that will allow her to leave school early, which I also don't want to do. It was interesting hearing your budget talk about the growth of people in town. We're one of those people, because this is exactly why we chose East Brunswick, because I did all the research and said, there's great schools here. This is the town I want to go to because it has amazing public schools. Our town at home in Connecticut had amazing public schools also. We value good public education. So I'm here today to request a unique and special exception to this particular rule to allow for us to pick Eva up from school early, 4 days a week. Now, the real issue is just because Warnsdorfer starts so late, right? It starts at 9:15 in the morning, and school goes until 3:15 in the afternoon. So I pick up Eva at 2:30 to get to the gym at 3. Practice begins at 2, really. So when she gets to middle school, it's not even an issue anymore from Hammersholt. If I pick her up at 2:50 at the end of the day, I can get to Marlborough at 3. It's just for the year and a half remaining at Warnsdorfer that we're in violation of this rule, and we really don't want to have to pull her out of public education. We think she's a great asset to the town. We love the town now. We want to be proud of being from this town, and not be resentful instead, and of having had to pull our child out of school because of a particular rule. I will conclude with this because I'm probably over 5 minutes, and I didn't make all the points I wanted to make because I'm nervous. But when I teach my introductory sociology classes, one of the main things I like to say to students is, societies are governed by rules, right? And there's a couple things you need to know about rules. Rules are made by people, right? Rules are enforced, and they're not enforced consistently. You go on the highway, almost everybody's speeding, not everybody's getting pulled over, right? Rules are not enforced consistently. Rules are conditioned by power within society. People with more power are more able to influence rules. People without power are often more likely to be punished by rules. But most important thing about rules is that rules, because they're made by people, can be changed by people. So I'm here to ask you tonight to please consider this case and allow Eva to remain in school and have this special provision to leave to pursue her dream to be a gymnast. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer questions. I know you don't have to.
Sir, we won't discuss this publicly because
Okay.
it does involve a student, but
Of course.
the board will deliberate in closed session this evening
Okay.
about your request, and we'll be in touch with you, via letter or telephonically, or both,
Okay,
okay?
that would be great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for a very eloquent, passionate presentation.
You're welcome. I'm very passionate about it. It's my daughter.
You should be. And I hope you understand that we don't discuss specific children or staff to protect them.
No, I totally understand it. I get that. Same with my college students. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else wishing to address the board? Okay, seeing none, I close the public portion.